everyone, I'm Jess here at Three Treasures Health and Wellness in Bethel Park. Today we are going to find a 30-minute restorative flow. So I invite you to join me on your mat at home by coming into a hero's pose. And you have the option, if you have blocks, to go ahead and use the block. I will be cueing those throughout the class today. So if you have a block and you'd like to get started in this hero's pose by finding that extra support, I encourage you to insert that underneath your seat. You can have your toes tucked under, or your feet can lay flat on top of the mat. From here, start to bring your awareness to your breath. Find your yoga breath here. So we bring our inhales and our exhales in and out only through the nose. Allow your breath to deepen. Fill up through your belly, ribs, and your chest. Hold at the top and then exhale. Release it out. And as you start to cultivate your breath here, start to take your hands behind your back, clasp them, and then start to roll open through your shoulders. Maybe you take your gaze slightly up and then press your palms down towards the earth. Finding just a little bit of lift here for that very first heart opener. And then slowly, if you'd like to add more, start to tip forward. Maybe you extend your arms up behind you, just stretching into those arms. You can rest your head on the mat below you. Stay for a breath, fill up here. And then as you start to inhale, rise back up to the top of your mat. One more time, take a deep breath. Press your hands together, clasping at your palms. Roll your shoulders down and away from your ears. Stay here, find length. Lift through the crown of your head. And one more time, option to bow forward and take your hands up to the sky. Stay for a breath. And then slowly start to lift up. From here, if you have a block or support underneath of you, you can remove it and move it to the side. Start to bring your big toes together to touch. Take your knees out wide in front of you, and then make your way down, finding your very first child's pose of the day. So arms are going to rest gently on the mat and the earth below you. Spread your fingers wide here. And again, cultivate your yoga breath. Find power in this breath here. And then if you want more, you can start to wiggle your fingers out forward. Maybe your elbows lift off of your mat. You have the option to tense your fingers here, all while working your seat to rest on your heels. Again, if for some reason you feel far away from your heels today, you have the option to take the block behind you. And then you can put that right between your feet and then prepare to lower back into your child's pose. This way, that will give you a little bit more support. And again, an option to lift your arms up or rest them gently onto the ground below you. Check back in on your breath here, and then slowly start to wiggle walk your fingers over to the right side, the right corner of your mat. They both walk over. You'll start to feel an opening through your left side body. Try to stay up on your fingertips here if that's available to you. Forehead stays center. Slowly come back through. Take them over to the opposite side. Again, option to tense your finger. Feeling that stretch through the opposite side body. Two more rounds of breath here. Come back through center. And then slowly start to pull forward. And then bring your hips down low. And then take your feet up behind you. Chest is going to be forward. Finding a scorpion pose. Look up towards the sky. And now slowly start to tip your legs over to the right side, keeping your chest straight forward, or as much as you can. I'm going to come center and prepare to do the opposite side. So again, chest is forward, hands are firmly rooted into your mat. And now take your legs over to the opposite side while working to keep your chest square. Gaze is up in front of you. Come back through center, reset, scorpion pose. Stay for a nice deep breath in. See if you can find just a little bit more flexibility. Maybe you look up above. Option to tilt your head back. And then slowly come back down, finding your child's pose. Again, option to keep the block where it is. Or maybe you try to see if you can sink lower. And let your head rest gently on the mat. One more variation to our child's pose here. Start to take your hands behind your back again. Find that clasp that we took at the beginning. And see if you can lift them up away from your body. Feeling that stretch through your biceps. Really anywhere throughout your arms. You may notice the sensation is more present in one arm than the other. Totally normal. See if you can hold for a few more breaths here. And then slowly unravel. Bring your hands out in front of you and make your way into your very first tabletop. Take your time getting there. Check in on your alignment. Make sure that your wrists are tracking directly under your shoulders. Again, spread your fingers wide. Then take a peek back at your knees. Make sure they're tracking directly under your hip bones. And then slowly start to inhale, pull forward, finding our first cow pose. Take your gaze up, and we're going to hold here longer than we normally would, just seeing if we can allow the body to go deeper into this stretch. One more full breath in. And then on your exhale, slowly start to round through your lower and upper back. Gaze is now between your thighs, finding your cat pose. Inhale, start to pull forward, look up. Again, holding our cow pose just a little bit longer. Spread your collarbone wide. Shoulders release down away from the ears. Now slowly start to exhale. Really round through the spine as if you're pressing the mat away. Stay for another breath here. And then inhale, start to pull forward, picking up the pace just a little bit. Exhale, we round. Two more here, nice and big with control. Inhale, pull forward. Look up. And then exhale, round. Press the mat away. Last one, make it your best one here. Inhale, pull forward. Exhale, round. From here, slowly start to reset. Come back through your neutral spine. You can come up onto your knees for a second here. Maybe you bring your blocks with you. That's what I'm going to be doing today for something different. You can adjust the the block height to any setting, so we can explore that together if you have them. Slowly start to make your way up, finding a standing bent position. So from here, take your blocks in. Press your hands directly on top of them. Inhale, start to look up. Find that cow tilt here. Pulling the belly up and in. And then exhale, start to round. Maybe you bend your knees. I want you to think about actually resting your belly onto your thighs. Make that connection. Keeping your head still forward though. So we're not letting our head hang all the way yet. Inhale, start to pull forward, look up, cow face tilt. Then exhale, start to sink it low, round through your spine. Not a full cat though. So it's a slight round, but it's not as intense as what we just did. So inhale, start to look up, keeping your hands planted. Engage through your low belly, and then exhale around. Again, think about that connection of belly to leg. Use your legs as a support here. Keep your gaze forward. One more time. Inhale, look up, tilt. And then exhale, sink it low. This time, go ahead, shake your head out, yes and no, take any little movements you need. But again, if you can, still try to keep that connection between your belly onto your legs. So maybe that means you bend lower than you normally would here. And then slowly start to move the blocks. Come back down onto your knees. Reset. Find your tabletop position. And as you do so, check back in on your breath. We're resetting here. And this time, start to come forward and take some body circles here. So as you sink all the way back, nice and low, start to pull forward. Starting by going over to the right. And each time, see if you can activate and go a little deeper. Every inhale starts this circular pattern here on your mat, lifting up away from your heels. 2 more here. Now sink it back, slowly prepare, lift up, this time reverse your circles. And you're allowing your body to feel the shift in the weight as it transfers and makes its way around through your body the same way you're starting to move around here on your mat. You may find that as you do this, you start to loosen up a little bit. But keep cultivating your yoga breath here. Beautiful. From here, slowly start to bring your knees together to touch. See if you can bring your forehead down onto the mat. The top of your head can reach the mat below you. We're going to take a rabbit's pose. If that's not comfortable, go ahead. You can stay right in your child's pose. And you want to see if you can reach for your heels and start to lift up out of your shoulders. This variation of rabbit here should be pretty accessible. And again, think about the top of your head pressing into the mat. It's a nice stretch for that upper shoulder area. One more breath in here. And slowly start to sink back down low. You can place your hands beside you, staying low to your mat. Now work your way back in, finding your child's pose or any variation. Stay for a nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. Now slowly start to lift up out of your child's pose here. Come back forward, finding your tabletop. And as you're ready, start to bring your right foot out in front of your right hand. So take any adjustments and then start to take this opposite left leg back behind you. We're going to find a lizard pose. So stay up on your high arms first. Start to wiggle out your foot just a little bit. Maybe you come onto that nice edge of the foot here. And then start to open up through your hip. You can always start to find a little movement here. If that helps you get deeper into this hip joint. Now, since we have our blocks handy today, I invite you to use them. You can even use 2. So you can place both blocks or support underneath your forearms. And then start to rest your head. You can let your head hang heavy. And then start to cultivate your breath. Nice full inhale through your nose and out through your mouth. Seeing if you can go just a little bit deeper. Finding stillness in this stretch. Gaze can be out in front of you, or again, option to let your head hang heavy. Keep checking in on your breath here. 2 more rounds. And as we stay here, and you know that you're about to find that release, see if you can go just a little bit deeper. And also check in on your facial tension here. A lot of times, if we start to feel discomfort in our hips, we start to clench our jaw. Usually that mirrors each other. So if you notice that, maybe you take some movement in your jaw, some open and closed mouth patterns here. Slowly start to lift up the same way we came into this pose. Lift up through your chest, nice and proud here. Maybe you take your gaze up to the sky. And then slowly start to take your right knee and meet it with the left. Come back through, finding that tabletop. Maybe you rock side to side, evening everything out here, making sure that our weight is evenly distributed. Again, if you have those blocks, try to move them out of the way just so you can find that proper alignment. And then mentally start to prepare. We're going to take our left foot forward now to the outside of our left hand. And then start to inch our right leg out behind us. Again, first start by coming up onto high arms here in this lizard. Chest can be forward. Gaze is straight out in front of you. And then start to see if you can start to slowly find a little movement. Maybe you start to roll over onto the knife's edge of your foot. But if for some reason today you feel more, or you feel a deeper stretch by staying straight forward and keeping your foot evenly planted into the mat, as always, take what works for you. And then slowly start to open up. Maybe you grab your blocks. Again, play with the position. But just for something different, I usually don't take my lizard with a block. But by changing sometimes the depth we get into a posture, blocks can sometimes make things feel really good, or they can actually intensify it. When you explore flexibility, it can definitely go either way. And from here, as you settle in, start to cultivate your breath. See if you can start to open and soften with every inhale and exhale you take here. Again, if a little bit of rocking, just minor movement, helps you find your edge, I invite you to take it and then start to settle into stillness after you think you've arrived here. Option to let your head hang heavy as you continue to cultivate your breath. Deep inhale in through the nose. Slow exhale the same way. Two more rounds here. Slowly start to lift up. Gaze is forward, pausing at high arms here. And then start to lift up. Make your way back into your tabletop. We're going to rinse that out, similar to how we started today. So inhale, look up, find your cow pose, and then exhale, round, press the mat away for cat pose. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, look up once more, reset. Then exhale, we round our spine. From here, start to look forward. You can come back onto your knees, lift up through your chest. We've been mostly on the ground for this class, so if you need a little length here, hero's pose is a nice way to attain that. Now start to come forward and start to take your right foot back out in front of you, similar to how we set up for lizard, only now start to bring your right knee down to the mat. Option to try to work this right leg to be parallel to your mat. Now, if you have a bolster or something at home, maybe you can still use your blocks. I actually just have blankets here, and we're going to come into a pigeon pose, but finding that support. So you can turn your head from side to side. It's really just to support your chest and allow you to get a little deeper into this stretch here. And then I invite you to check back in. Sometimes with the support, you're able to straighten out the leg that is bent for this half pigeon posture. So again, any block, support, bolster, body pillow, or like what I did here, if you have a bunch of blankets, anything that will comfortably support you, you can bring your arms around as if you're hugging that in. Head can rest heavy, or you can look forward. Really, it's about finding whatever you need to get comfortable into this posture so that you can relax. And as you do this, you'll start to open up through that deep hip flexor. One more breath in here. Slowly start to come up to long arms. Take your gaze out in front of you. Lift up through your chest. Start to lift your knee up and back. Again, we reset in our tabletop this time, starting to take those full body circles. Just 2 to each side, finding that last little bit of movement. And for a counter stretch, even though we're in tabletop, I invite you to lift your right leg up behind you. And just take your chest up. It can be higher than hip height here, just to kind of offset our pigeon, our half pigeon on the right side. As you're ready, now start to take your left foot in front of you. Same thing on the left side. Let your leg lower down. No rush to get there. Gaze is forward. Slowly start to melt lower onto your mat. Again, find any support that you need. Come down into your half pigeon. Feel your body start to melt into whatever support you have. Let your chest rest. And see if by doing so you can get your leg more parallel to the top of the mat in front of you. Letting go of any tension. A few more rounds of deep breath in here. And slowly, the same way you came into this posture, start to lift up through your chest. Look up. Make your way back last time through tabletop. Reset here. Option for the counter stretch. Take your left leg out behind you. Flex through your foot. Option to lift your leg. Try to stay center. Weight is evenly distributed. Hold for a breath. And then release down onto your mat. Now make your way back in to a comfortable child's pose. Legs go wide, out at the side. Maybe before you do that again, see if you need to take that bind through your shoulders. That can feel really nice. And then slowly start to release back down onto the mat below you. Any variation of child's pose that you would like, whether that's active arms or arms behind you. Find what makes you feel most comfortable. As we stay for just a few more rounds of breath here, taking what you need and leaving whatever does not serve you here on your mat today. If you need to stay here longer, I invite you to do so. Thank you so much for joining me for your class today. Again, I'm Jess here at Three Treasures Health and Wellness, and I can't wait to see you on your mat again next time.